Hello everyone, welcome to the day 4 of Frontend Mentor Challenges, and today we are going to create the fourth project from here. This is the profile card component, so let's get into this. So I have already downloaded it because actually this is the second time I have been recording this video. The first time there was some issue with my microphone, so I need to record this again. So let's click this and we can actually download it again. So let's download the starter files, and as we have already downloaded it, let's open this up and extract this on the desktop here. Okay, so let's open the design so you can see it. This is the desktop design, this is the preview, and this is for mobile design. So actually there is no difference between the mobile design and the desktop design. This is all going to be the same, but we need to actually apply some gap with this card, so something like a margin. Okay, so let's open the entire folder up by Visual Studio Code. Now at first let's clean this up. Okay, I'm just going to delete the comment too, and also in here we don't need any attribution. Okay, now let's apply the markup. So in here we can put inter things inside a container and make the container center. Then we can put another div for this entire element or the card. So in this div, at first we need to put the image at the top. Then maybe there will be another div which will contain this image and this text here. So for this kind of footer thing, so we can use the Flexbox to align them properly. So let's do that. At first I will just create a container div, and inside the container let's create a wrapper. So in this wrapper we need to include the first image. So this is the busy pattern card, and they also provided us with these two other images like busy pattern bottom and busy pattern top. So this is the things here: background pattern top, background pattern bottom. So we are going to add that by CSS with the body. So with the image, after putting the image, let's create another div and give it some class name like content. So this content will contain this entire thing from this image, text, and other things. So let's put the image first, images and image vector JPEG. Now after that let's use an h2 tag here to put the name. As you can see here, the name and the s is at the same line, so we can also put this s inside this h2 tag, but this is differently styled, so we need to put it inside an span so we can style it differently. Let's just cut this and paste it here. Now let's create a span tag, and inside the span tag let's put this text. Okay, fine. Now what we need to do is we need to add this London here. So let's use an paragraph tag and put the London text actually. So after that let's create a div with the class name of footer, because it is something like a cart footer. So this footer got 3 elements, so we can put each of this inside a div and apply the flexbox with the entire thing. So with this div with the class of footer, so let's create a div. In here the stats are differently styled, so let's use a paragraph tag with the class of something like stat or maybe number. Okay, we don't need the gap here, we can put it inside a line. This is the first text. Now let's also put it here. Now we can create 2 more copies. Now we need to replace the text. This is the second one. And okay, let's also replace the number from here. And we have completed the markup. Let's open this up by the live server extension, and this is what it looks like. Now let's create a new file, style.css, so it will contain our style sheet. So we need to include this here, link css. Okay, now it is linked with the index.html. Now let's read up the style guide.md. So for the font, this is our font. Let's open this up, and we need to import the 400 and 700 font weight. So let's just do that, 400 700, and we need to import this. Let's also copy the font family and paste it inside the body. Now we can close this up, and we need to see it live, so I'll just resize them like that. Okay, now at first we need to remove the default margin and padding of the browser, so let's do that. Margin 0, padding also 0, box sizing border box. Okay, let's save. Now it got no padding. So for the font size of name of the stars, it will be 18 pixels. Okay, fine. Now let's target the body, and we actually have done that. So we need to give this a background color and also the background image, because we need to put two background images here. Let's do that later, but for now let's just add a background color here for now. And they actually provided us with a background color. So this is the color, I think, dark cyan. So I will just copy this and paste it here. Okay, this is the color. So we need to push this at the center. So what we can do is we can give the body a display of flex, and align items will be center. Okay, fine. Let's also give this a minimum height of 100 viewport height. Let's save. Now let's target the container. We can give this a maximum. Actually, don't need to do that. Let's give this a margin of 0 and auto to make the entire thing center. Also, as you can see here, all the text are at the center, so we can apply text align center. Fine. Now let's target the wrapper, and for the wrapper we can apply the maxoid here, so it is kind of like a card. So I think the similar wide will be 420 pixels, so I'm just going to go with that on. And this wrapper also got a background color. They haven't provided us with any color, so I'll just go with the white color because the background is white. So let's use triple F to make this white. We also need to add a border radius with that to make the corners rounded. So let's say 15 pixels, and to apply the border radius with the image, actually the image is overflowing the box, that's why we need to make the overflow hidden. Let's save, and it looks like this. Okay, so for a smaller display, like for mobile display, as you can see, it got some gap here, so we can add a margin with the wrapper. So something like margin on rem, I think it will be fine. We are going to see it in for a smaller display later. So now let's target the content image, which is the image of this person. So it got a class of content and image. I think the class name is content. Okay, this is the class and we need to target this image here. So we want to make it like this on, so it got a specific height and width. After that we can apply a border radius of 50% to make it completely circle. So width, let's say 100 pixels, height 100 pixels. We actually don't need to apply the height because this is already a square shape. So let's add a border radius of 50%. Now it will make this completely rounded. Also it got a border of white all around it, so we need to add that. So let's add a border of maybe 4 pixels solid and height. Now we need to push it at the top to 50% like this. So in here the image got a height of 100 pixels and we applied the border of 4 pixels, that means 104 pixels. So the half of 104 will be 52. So let's add a margin at the top. So we need to push the thing at the top, so minus 52 pixels. Now it is somewhere in the center. Now let's target this text here, content and h2. So they have provided us a color for the title, name and the states. So font size will be 18 pixels and the color, I think it will be very dark desaturated blue. I'll just grab this. Okay, this is actually the color. Now let's make the font size 18 pixels. Fine. So we have imported two font weight, 400 and 700. So in this case the font weight is already 700, although you can mention it to be just sure. So 700, but for the span here or the edge we need to change the color and also the font weight because this is much lighter. Let's also add some margin at the bottom to create some gap with this name and the location. So something like 10 pixels. And we actually also need to apply some margin bottom with this image too to create this gap. So margin bottom maybe 20 pixels. Okay, it looks better. Now let's target the content and h2 and the span which contains the edge. So in this case the color, let's grab the color, dark grayish blue. This is the color. Okay, this is not taking the color here. So the text will be inside the span text, not outside of it. So now it is taking the color. We can also make the font weight to actually 400 because okay, 400. Now it looks fine, so it is done. Now let's target the content and the p, which will be all of this text here. So the text color are same with this one. So I'll just grab the color from here and paste it here. Also let's reduce the font size a little bit. So let's make font size 13 pixels. And now let's style the footer. So for the footer, at first we need to make the display of flex, and in order to make this center, what we can do is we can use the justify content space between, sorry, it will be between. And now we can add some padding here. So as you can see, it got a little margin at the top, the demarcation line between this part and this part. So we can add a margin top, or sorry, the border top with this. So let's add a border top of on pixel solid, and let's try with this color, and it is too much dark, so we can make it look like this. So let's use an SSLA, the opacity, and give it a value of something like 0.4. Let's save. Okay, let's make it 3, maybe 2. Okay, I'm just going with the 2. Now let's add some padding with this. So we need some gap at the top, bottom, and also for left and right. So for top and bottom, let's try 30 pixels, and from left to right 50 pixels. Let's save. Okay, it looks fine. Now we need to style the numbers here. So we have got this into a paragraph tag with the class name of number. So it will be footer p with the class of num, and we need to increase the font size because they have given us the font size 18 pixels for the stats. We also need to apply the color of the title, which is, I think this is the color, very dark desaturated blue. So I'll just give it the color of that. Also the font weight is bold, so font weight 700. And now let's add some margin bottom, something like 5 pixels. So we also need to create some gap with the border and with this text. So what I'll do is I'll add a margin at the top of something maybe 30 pixels. Not with this one. We need to add this margin with the footer here. Okay, now it looks fine. So this is the card and design, and this is our style. This is look almost similar. So now we are going to add this two background shape with this. So let's go to the top with the body, and we can add two images as the background here by CSS. So at first let's get the background image, and we need to apply two images, right? So URL, let's apply the first images, and this is the top image. After that put a comma and URL again, images, and the bottom one. Now we got the two images, so we need to position this. We can actually do that, but before that let's make the background repeat, no repeat, and again comma, no repeat, so they are not going to repeat. Now let's target the background position. So we can apply two values here. The first value will be for around the x direction, like right or left, and the second value will be around the y direction, which is the bottom or top. So we need to position each of the images separately. So let's do that. The background position. Now for the top one, because this is the first property here, the top image. So if you see it, the top image will be something like at the right, and there is some gap with this bottom. So we need to target the right, and so in the right and left, this is actually the white, so we can apply something like 50 viewport height. We are going to actually work with the value later, but let's just apply some dummy number in here. Then we are going to use the this helper tool with the Chrome, which is the inspect tool. then style the position them later. But for now, let's apply right 50 pixels, and from bottom maybe something like again 50 viewport height, because this is the height in the bottom and top. After that, let's put a comma, and for the second one, which is the bottom one, it is actually from the left, and it got, we need to add some viewport height with the top. So left maybe 50 viewport, 50 viewport height, and from top 50 viewport height. Let's save, and it looks like this. Now if we don't like the positioning, what we can do is we can inspect this, and then we can select the body here and work with the value. So from right, let's see it in the smaller size display, like in mobile display, and this is what it will look like. So it goes like 50% in here from the left, and this one look like this. So we are going to make it similar like this one. So let's target the top image first. So this is the top image. Now let's reduce the, okay, now I think this is in half. I'm going to go with this one, and from bottom okay, 30 looks fine. Let's increase this. Okay, I'm just going to make it 45 and decrease the bottom a little bit. Okay, it looks similar. And now let's think about this one, the bottom one. So from left, 45 looks fine. Okay, I'll just use this value. I'll just copy this and replace the background position here. Now it looks better. Actually not better. So it starts from here, but in this case this is too much in here. Okay, after wasting some time on that, I got with this value, and it is actually not messing with this entirely because they have styled it with the width of 1440 pixels, but in here we are just going to display it like 1920. So we need to display it in 1440 pixels to make it totally look like that, the design. So in here, let's just settle with this color, actually this background position, and this is totally good. The style does look like this design, and for every viewport it looks fine. So I will add the entire project into the Codepen. If you want to see that, I will leave the link in the description below. So this is the day 4, and in the next day we are going to create another project or challenge. So for the next day, let's create some junior challenge. So something like this one, interactive pricing component. So it gets lots of functions, so we need to use JavaScript. So this slides looks like it actually moves, and it does change the text here, also the number. It also got a switch to switch between monthly billing and yearly billing. So we are going to do that tomorrow in the next challenge. So thank you very much for watching this far, and if you like these challenges, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you are not subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe. So see you tomorrow. Take care and goodbye.